An experienced hacker just pulled off a flawless operation by slipping straight into an airport's security system. It starts with Lisbeth arriving like any other tourist. She blends into the crowd, strolls through the terminal, then casually leaves her suitcase behind as if she forgot it. Of course, security spots it almost immediately. They pick it up, bring it to the inspection area, and open it. Inside, there are a few simple toys and a white phone. Nothing that looks dangerous. So the guards set the phone aside and move on. What they do not realize is that the phone is the real weapon. Hidden inside it is a built-in hacking program. And the second they let their guard down, Lisbeth taps in and gains access to the airport's servers. In a blink, she takes control of the entire management system. Phase 1 is done. Now she needs the airport to panic, so she makes sure the cameras get a clean look at her face. She walks right under a surveillance camera, no mask, no attempt to hide. The system instantly flags her as a wanted criminal. Alarms go off, an arrest order is issued, and suddenly security officers pour into the airport. A full-scale inspection begins, and posts all over the place get abandoned as everyone rushes to respond. That is exactly what Lisbeth wanted. With most of the guards pulled away, she removes her hat, activates the system, and remotely opens the door to a temporary holding cell. One remaining guard notices prisoners trying to move and steps in to stop it. But Lisbeth reacts faster. She locks the guard inside the cell instead. And then the door to Needham's cell swings open. Needham is moments away from being deported, so the second he realizes this is a rescue, he does not hesitate. He gets up and runs. Lisbeth sends a remote command to the control center and directs him to a specific location. In just a few minutes, she executes the entire escape smoothly, like she has done it 100 times. But Lisbeth was not born with skills like this. When she was a child, she lived with her older sister Camilla under a ruthless father who led the Russian Mafia. Their childhood was not normal. No freedom, no safety, just pressure and control. The only thing they were ever allowed to do was sit and play chess, as if strategy was the only language their home understood. One day, they are called in to face their father again, the same man who regularly treats them with cruelty. Camilla looks resigned, like she has accepted that this is just life. Lisbeth cannot accept it. She realizes none of this is right, and in a desperate moment, she chooses escape. She jumps from a window and runs, leaving everything behind. This is the girl in the spider's web. 15 years later in New York City, Lisbeth has become something else entirely. We are shown a wealthy businessman who enjoys abusing women, even his own wife. Then the lights cut out and a figure in black appears. In the chaos, he ends up trapped and completely helpless. And that is when we understand who is behind it. It is Lisbeth, now working through an agency as a highly skilled hacker. This time, she is not here for chaos, she is here to balance the scales. At the request of a client who was one of the man's victims, Lisbeth hacks into his bank accounts and transfers 20% of his fortune to the client as compensation. But she does not stop there. The client also wants the remaining 80% sent to the businessman's wife. Lisbeth makes sure the wife gets the money and pushes her to disappear with her child far away. Because if this man ever tries to retaliate, Lisbeth makes it clear she will not hesitate to end him. Before she leaves, Lisbeth delivers one last punishment. She shocks him, then walks away like it was just another job. After finishing her job in New York, Lisbeth flies back home to Sweden, returning to her small apartment. She barely has time to settle in before a new mission lands in her hands. Without hesitation, she heads out to meet her next client. This time, the client is a man named Balder. He arrives with his young son by his side. Balder is not just anyone. He is a computer expert who once worked for the United States government, specializing in nuclear security systems. The job he brings to Lisbeth is unlike anything before. He wants her to steal a program called Firefall, a powerful piece of software stored on a government computer. Firefall is Balder's own creation. According to him, with just a single click, it could control every nuclear weapon in the world. At first, he built it as part of his work, but eventually Balder realized how dangerous it truly was.
I realized too late that I'd created an abomination. Please, help me.
If it ever fell into the wrong hands, the consequences would be catastrophic. So he cut ties with the government and disappeared, determined to retrieve Firefall and destroy it forever. What they do not realize is that someone else is watching. A masked man tracks their movements through CCTV cameras and continues to follow Lisbeth all the way back to her apartment. Once home, Lisbeth reviews a video Balder recorded explaining Firefall in more detail. It is not just about nuclear weapons. The software can also control global defense systems, including tactical weapons operated through satellites. In other words, whoever controls Firefall could act like a god, deciding the fate of entire nations. That same night, the United States National Security Agency is in crisis. Firefall cannot be activated because Balder has vanished and terminated his contract. The head security expert, Needham, suddenly receives an alert about a foreign user breaking into the main system. He immediately cuts the power, but he is too late. The hacker has already started transferring the file. Needham triggers an emergency alarm and rushes to the data center, only to find that Firefall has already been taken. After tracing the IP address, he discovers the breach leads straight to Lisbeth. Before the trail goes cold, he makes a decision to fly to Sweden and find her. Meanwhile, curious about what she just stole, Lisbeth opens Firefall herself. She is immediately met with a constantly shifting encryption system that changes every 10 seconds. Even for her, it is overwhelming. Frustrated, she closes the program. Outside, the masked man waits. Suddenly, someone crashes through her front door. Lisbeth rushes out from the bathroom, but before she can react, the masked man opens fire without hesitation. We still do not know who he works for, but he moves with precision. He grabs the laptop containing Firefall, then deliberately causes a gas leak in the apartment. Seconds later, a massive explosion rips through the place. By sheer instinct, Lisbeth survives by diving into the bathtub for cover. When she regains consciousness, the laptop is gone. Determined to identify her attacker, she heads to a CCTV room to track him down. But the man kept his face covered, leaving her with no useful information. Soon after, local police arrive to arrest her. With no time to explain, Lisbeth jumps on her motorcycle and escapes at full speed, even racing across a frozen lake to shake them off. Now we shift to Balder, who is starting to get uneasy. Lisbeth has not shown up at their meeting point, and he begins to worry that she may have betrayed him. Fearing the worst, Balder heads straight to Sweden's National Defense Headquarters to seek help from Gabriella, the director in charge. Without wasting time, she agrees to assist him in recovering Firefall. Meanwhile, Lisbeth reaches out to an old friend, Mikael, a well-known investigative journalist. She needs his help to identify the masked man who stole Firefall, and she explains just how dangerous the software truly is. This is not just another hacking job. The stakes are global. She also contacts John, a skilled hacker who is just as talented as she is. After hearing the full story, John immediately hacks into the CCTV system at the original meeting location. What they discover is interesting. The last person Balder met before disappearing was Gabriella. That changes everything. Lisbeth quickly pieces it together. If Gabriella has taken Balder, she will likely move him to a secure safe house. And since only Balder and his son August know the access code for Firefall, the masked man's next target is obvious. He will go after Balder and August. Before that can happen, Lisbeth heads to the suspected safe house, which is located near the National Security Headquarters. She installs surveillance cameras and manages to spot August near a window, confirming they are in the right place. At the same time, Needham arrives in Sweden. Instead of going after Lisbeth directly, he is intercepted and brought to Sweden's National Defense Headquarters. Because he began investigating inside another country without authorization, he technically has no authority there. Gabriella steps in and takes control of the situation. If Needham insists on continuing his pursuit, she makes it clear he could be deported immediately. While Lisbeth monitors the safe house through her cameras, Mikael decides to meet Gabriella himself. He tries to explain that Lisbeth is not entirely responsible for what happened. He even shows her a photo of the masked man who now has Firefall, but Gabriella shows little interest and walks away. However, Mikael notices something important. On the masked man's arm, there is a spider tattoo. He contacts his assistant and asks her to investigate the symbol. It does not take long before she finds a name connected to a similar tattoo. Mikael immediately tracks down the address and meets a man who bears the same spider mark. The man turns out to be a casino owner who used to belong to a group known as the Spider Organization. When Mikael shows him the photo and admits he is looking for the masked man, the former organization member becomes serious. He warns Mikael to stop digging. According to him, the Spider Organization is extremely dangerous, and they are the reason he lost his nose in the past. After meeting the former Spider Organization member, Mikael returns to his office and keeps digging for more information. He and his assistant work through the night, chasing every possible lead about the Spider Organization. Finally, his assistant remembers something important. She once heard that the spider organization actually originated in Russia. That detail hits hard. Mikhail immediately pulls up old files related to Lisbeth's father, the notorious Russian Mafia leader. As he cross-checks the information, everything starts to line up. The masked man has a name. It is Kalser, and he used to be Lisbeth's father's personal bodyguard. By the time this truth comes to light, it is already too late. Kalser has made his move. At the safe house, he has already taken out 2 guards. Watching through her surveillance feed, Lisbeth sees it happening and races to the scene. She manages to find Balder and August first, but before she can get them out, Kalser suddenly appears and attacks her. They fight, but Kalser does not kill her. Instead, he injects her with tramadol, leaving her disoriented and unable to defend herself. Then in front of August, he shoots Balder. With Balder gone, August is all he needs. Kalser takes the boy and leaves Lisbeth behind, unconscious and framed as the killer. But Lisbeth refuses to stay down. Through the haze, she manages to grab an adrenaline shot and force herself back to consciousness. Still barely steady on her feet, she steals a patrol car and uses her tech to track Kalser. All she needs is the vehicle's license plate. Within seconds, she has his location. Driving recklessly through traffic, she closes the distance. Being a hacker means she can do far more than just track someone. As long as there is a signal and electronics involved, she can interfere. And that is exactly what she does. She remotely disables Kalser's vehicle, bringing it to a stop. They confront each other on a bridge. Lisbeth quickly pulls August to safety, but Kalser is still alive and firing at her from behind. Thinking fast, she manipulates the bridge's security system, creating enough chaos to escape. It is during this escape that Lisbeth learns something far more shocking than anything else. The mastermind behind Kalser is Camilla, her own sister, the one she left behind as a child. Whatever Camilla's reasons are for wanting Firefall, it is clear this has become personal. Lisbeth does not wait around. She switches vehicles, taking a black Lamborghini, and drives August to a hidden location in the hills. With Balder dead, August is now the only person who knows the numerical combination required to unlock Firefall. Without him, Camilla or anyone else cannot use the software. The true key is the boy. At the same time, Mikhail makes the same horrifying discovery. Camilla is the one pulling the strings. And things only get worse when the media reports Balder's death, portraying it as if Lisbeth is responsible. Overnight, she becomes the prime suspect and the most wanted fugitive in the country. Back at the scene of Balder's death, Needham is quietly looking around. While investigating, he discovers one of the surveillance cameras that Lisbeth secretly installed earlier. He barely has time to examine it before Gabriella shows up. Since he has no official authority in Sweden, she forces him to leave and prepares to deport him. With no choice, Needham discards the camera and walks away. Meanwhile, Lisbeth is in hiding with August. Surprisingly, they are playing chess. August turns out to be incredibly gifted, so gifted that he can even outsmart someone as sharp as Lisbeth. It is a rare moment of calm in the middle of chaos. Not long after, Mikkel arrives to discuss their next move. Lisbeth takes August to another room to rest. Before leaving him alone, she hands him a single chess piece and tells him to keep it. At first, it seems random, but just before she steps away, August quietly reveals part of the numerical code needed to unlock Firefall. It is a sign that he is starting to trust her. Once August is settled, Lisbeth sits down with Mikkel to plan their next step. That is when she starts thinking about Needham. He may have been chasing her, but he is also one of the few people who truly understands the threat of Firefall. She decides he might be more useful as an ally than an enemy, and perhaps August would be safer under his protection. After seeing news reports that Needham is about to be deported, Lisbeth heads straight to the airport. With her usual precision, she slips past security and manages to free him without much trouble. After leaving the airport, Lisbeth and Needham are picked up by John. But while all this is happening, August receives a phone call from Balder's number. Being just a child, he answers it without thinking. What he does not realize is that it is Kalser on the other end, using the call to trace their location. By the time Lisbeth returns, it is already too late. Camilla and her team have arrived first. August is gone, and Mikhail has been captured. Just as they are about to be taken away, Lisbeth creates a distraction, grabs Mikhail, and leaps to safety under heavy gunfire.
To pay us a lot of money for this thing.
I don't care, just shoot me.
Shoot you? You're my sister.
They manage to escape by hiding in the bushes. But there is no saving August this time. Camilla has taken him. With no other option, Lisbeth and Mikhail regroup at Jan's place, where Needham has been waiting. But Lisbeth never acts without a backup plan. The chess piece she gave August was not just a token. Inside it is a tracking device, allowing them to pinpoint his location. The signal leads them to an old house, where Camilla is holding August. Instead of forcing him immediately to reveal the code, she takes her time. She explains her motives. For her, this has always been about money. Someone powerful is willing to pay a fortune for Firefall, and she intends to deliver it.
I need you to do that for me now.
While the others prepare their rescue, Mikkel makes a decision on his own. Without telling Lisbeth, he goes to meet Gabriella, hoping she might offer help. Instead, he learns a shocking truth. The person financing Camilla and the Spider organization is none other than Gabriella herself. She wants Firefall for one reason: to control the world's nuclear power. Not knowing that Mikkel has already been captured, Lisbeth, Jan, and Needham head to the old house to rescue August. When they arrive, Lisbeth goes in alone through a lower access point. She places several transmitters around the building so the entire structure can be scanned using three-dimensional mapping technology. Once she finishes setting them up, John activates an antenna to receive the signals. From that moment on, he can see every corner of the house in real time, including any movement inside. The scan, however, takes time. It is only 24% complete, and Lisbeth is not the type to wait. She keeps moving, searching for August. That is when she walks straight into a trap. She finds herself inside a room filled with toxic gas. During a struggle, she manages to grab a mask from one of the men attacking her. But even with that advantage, she cannot overpower them. Everything unfolds exactly as Camilla planned. Soon, both Lisbeth and August are captured and brought into the same room. Lisbeth is then shown Mikkel's condition. He was taken earlier and is now being threatened. If August does not reveal the access code to Firefall, Mikkel will be killed. With no other choice, Lisbeth has to persuade August to give up the combination. The moment the software is unlocked, Gabriella appears, finally getting what she has been after. But things take another turn. Camilla realizes just how valuable Firefall truly is. Gabriella may be powerful, but there are others who would pay even more. Instead of handing it over, Camilla eliminates Gabriella and decides to sell the software to a higher bidder. Now she controls everything. She has Firefall, she has August, and she has Mikhail locked away in separate rooms. As for Lisbeth, Camilla wants something far more personal. She wants to watch her sister die slowly. The resentment she has carried since childhood has never faded. Even though their father was cruel, Camilla loved him in her own way and still blames Lisbeth for abandoning them and for his eventual death. Instead of killing Lisbeth quickly, Camilla chooses a method designed to make her suffer. She plans to let her suffocate. But before that, she intends to execute Mikhail and August first, forcing Lisbeth to watch. At that exact moment, Jan completes the three-dimensional scan. Just as two executioners prepare to kill August and Mikkel in separate rooms, precise gunshots suddenly take them down. The shots come from Needham, positioned on a nearby hill. He is not just a security expert. He is also a highly trained sniper, armed with a powerful .50 caliber rifle. With bullets capable of piercing walls and reinforced surfaces, and guided by John's real-time scan, Needham can eliminate targets he cannot even see directly. One by one, the guards fall. Camilla is the only one left. She grabs the laptop containing Firefall and escapes. Kalser, realizing he is exposed, dives out of a window to avoid becoming the next target. As Camilla flees, Lisbeth finally reunites with Mikhail and August. After making sure they are safe, she knows there is only one thing left to do. She has to stop her own sister before Firefall is used. Meanwhile, Kalser tries to escape as well, but fate turns against him. Camilla's vehicle, speeding through the road, does not see him in time. The car crashes into Kalser, sending both him and the vehicle tumbling into the forest. Injured from the crash, but still standing, Camilla manages to get out of the wreckage with the laptop in her hands. She keeps moving, determined to escape. Close behind her, Lisbeth refuses to give up the chase. The pursuit continues until both of them reach the edge of a cliff, with nowhere left to run. Here, everything finally comes to the surface. Camilla releases years of anger and resentment. She has carried the pain of being left behind ever since Lisbeth escaped their father's control. In her eyes, Lisbeth abandoned her. Not every child has the courage to jump out of a window and run. Camilla believes she was the one who stayed, the one who endured, and she has blamed Lisbeth for that choice ever since. Rather than live with defeat or surrender, Camilla makes her own decision. She steps back and throws herself off the cliff. Moments later, Needham arrives, focused on securing Firefall. But when the system is checked, the truth becomes clear. The software has already been erased automatically. The numerical code August held was never meant to activate Firefall. It was a built-in deletion sequence prepared by Balder. That means the moment Balder died earlier in the story, Firefall effectively lost its value. No one else could ever truly use it. After everything settles, life begins to move forward. Mikkel starts writing a story about Lisbeth, giving it the title The Girl in the Spider's Web. At the same time, Lisbeth returns to her old home and sets it on fire, destroying the last physical reminder of her past. With those memories reduced to ashes, she prepares for a new chapter, determined to take on a new identity and disappear once again. So the moral of the story is, if you invent world-ending nuclear software, maybe do not store it on a laptop and let your kid memorize the password.